Welcome to the fight with Teddy Atlas, presented by Dynamic Strike, and I'm Ken Rideout, joined by the legend Teddy Atlas. Teddy, how you doing?
Good, Ken. How are you?
Good.
How's the artwork? How's the artwork going? How's the
It's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Starting to get some recognition now. Just talking at Christie's next auction.
I'll tell you, it's nice. You got hearts. You got all kinds.
Softens
of
me up a
things.
little bit.
Well, no, you're all heart. You're all heart.
I'm trying.
It just reminds us that you are. That, yeah, I like the way you keep. What do we have? Because the fans sometimes they can't get a hold of me, but sometimes I hear that they call in a foundation, and they ask what Ken's next. They want to know if there's a tip out there. What his next art might be that he displays.
Oh, I've actually got a good one for them. The fine art of the great graffiti artist Eric Hayes. He's slowly transitioning into fine art. Had his first show at the his first fine art show at the Brooklyn Beyond the Streets show. He's of course the husband of the great Rosie Perez, Oscar-nominated actress, and Eric actually designed a limited edition logo for us that we'll be releasing to the fans sometime in this coming year. And I think people really like it.
I set you up nice for that one, didn't I?
Yeah, not planned, guys.
No, it wasn't planned. It was just natural.
Yeah.
But if something's right, it comes out.
Yes.
And it came out. So that's good. Yeah, Rosie, of course, I call her the queen, or I don't know if I call her or somebody named her the queen of boxing, or, the lady of boxing. Maybe that's even nicer.
First lady
of boxing. Yeah,
she's the best. Teddy, before we jump into things, I want to remind everyone that we have our Dr. Atlas Foundation episode coming out this Thursday. Very excited to share this one. Given the COVID, obviously, we can't have an in-person dinner that Teddy normally hosts on Staten Island the Thursday before Thanksgiving every year. So instead, we're doing a virtual dinner. We've interviewed, and we're going to interview a number of high-profile guests, including the real deal Evander Holyfield, superstar NFL, Super Bowl MVP Phil Simms, double champ UFC fighter Daniel Cormier, MMA journalist extraordinaire Ariel Helwani, the legendary college hoops announcer Dickie V, and of course the toughest actor in Hollywood, Tony Danza. Secondly, today's episode is sponsored by
You left out one. Did you leave out DC?
No, Daniel Cormier, double champ of the UFC. We got him.
Sorry.
Can't wait for everyone to see. That's a great
Can't leave him
conversation.
out. He'll put you in the guillotine.
Oh, for sure. And if he doesn't get it, then Dustin Poirier definitely will get a guillotine. Secondly, today's episode is sponsored by Whoop. Check these guys out at whoop.com. Use the promo code ATLAS, ATLAS, for 15% off. Now pay attention, fellas, guys, girls. I love this thing. It tracks everything from resting heart rate variability, your daily strain, how well you're sleeping. It gives you a recovery score. It's a very valuable tool. And as a special thank you to the listeners, we're going to cover the purchase price of 1 out of every 5 people who buy a Whoop this week using the code ATLAS, ATLAS. Just send your receipt to the fight at Hit Hard Media, HITHARDMEDIA, the fight at HitHardMedia.com, and we'll enter you into the contest. Also, for those who send it in, we're going to send you the code to join the Fight with Teddy Atlas Whoop team, and you can compare yourself against myself, Rob, and Teddy, and see how you hold up on the daily strain score. If you can beat us all, maybe we'll throw in another prize for you as well. I think when you see the scores, you'll be quite surprised. Teddy, let's get into things. We've got a ton of stuff to cover.
Let me say one thing off of
yes.
this. Just thank you for mentioning the dinner, virtual dinner that we're going to have, Thursday the 19th, 7 o'clock. And the people know how to get on that, right? Because obviously I don't know what the heck. I'd wind up sending them to the cooking channel. I mean, let's be honest. I really, truly am, what is that called? Social media, computer illiterate, internet illiterate.
The king of boxing Twitter. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, I do know how to Twitter. Well, I give it to Rob. I write it all up. I give it to Rob. I said, go get him, Rob. Go get him! But the info will be up there, right, Ken? How people are going to get on it. And I just want to say, Ken's right. We usually have 1,000 people to the dinner, sometimes 50 celebrities, 60 celebrities. We did the virtual one. Obviously, we have 6 celebrities, all telling great stories. I mean, really, Tony Danza was a fighter before he was an actor. Good puncher. He tells some great stories. Evander Holyfield, of course, talks about how he became the real deal. Had everything to do with his mom, a good mom, a tough mom. Phil Simms talks about his relationship with Lawrence Taylor and with Bill Parcells, and just how proud he is of his sons playing in the NFL. That Ken talked about that, asked him about that. They're just great guys. Helwani is the face of UFC with his show. DC is a legend. Daniel Cormier is a legend out there in the UFC, maybe the greatest light heavyweight of all time. And his road to get there, well, you just have to listen to it, really. If anyone gets down a little bit and says, gee, I can't make it, just listen to his story, how he made it and what he went through and what he overcame. The guy is an inspiration, I think, to everybody when you hear his story. And then you got the awesome one, awesome baby, Diggy V. Awesome baby. Diggy V, not only the great announcer, he was a coach, great announcer, legendary, iconic, but what a charitable man. I mean, anything he's done in the broadcasting business has been really over. He has more than surpassed what he's done professionally by what he's done as far as charity work. I mean, he really has. He's raised millions of dollars for cancer research in the name of his friend, Jimmy V, for the Jimmy V Foundation. Millions of dollars. I mean, this man is more than a guy who just screams, awesome baby. I mean, a lot more. So anyway, just if you guys could be part of it, there's no charge. If you want to make a donation, it's up to you guys. But you watch the show, you learn about the foundation, the work that we've done for 24 years, where basically we just help people that fall through the cracks. We've been doing it 24 years. Handicap ramp, bang, get it up for an invalid child living with a single mom, no insurance, or the insurance doesn't take care of it. Or they need to fly out of state for a treatment program that's not existing in their area. Bang, get them on a plane. We fly them out. We take care of it. And then the smallest, simplest things. A single mom living with 4 or 5 kids, and she's struggling, trying to make ends meet. It happens. It happens. And all of a sudden, her electric's being shut off. No, we step in, no electric being shut off. No way. And we step in, we pay the bill. And whatever, the food pantry that we're running for senior citizens during this terrible COVID situation where they can't get out. So, again, I would just ask you, I appreciate you, I appreciate the hell out of you being part of this show, and I would appreciate if, I know you fight fans, that means you have hearts. That means that you care about heart, that stuff. And I just asked you to be part of it. That's it. Go ahead, Ken.
The episode will be posting just like a podcast episode. It'll be premiering at 7 p.m. Eastern Time this Thursday on YouTube. Just like all of our stuff, you'll be able to find it if you subscribe to the show on YouTube and podcast networks. You'll see it coming up this Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. All right, we got a lot of stuff to cover, Teddy, and a bunch of episodes. Good content coming up. We've got a Roy Jones, Mike Tyson fight plan we're putting up. We've got the foundation episode. So we're going to try to burn through a bunch of stuff here, but never sacrificing quality for timeliness. Let's jump into it. 2 weeks ago, or a week ago Saturday, we had Devin Haney in action against Yuriorkis Gamboa. Yuriorkis Gamboa, obviously a former superstar Olympian from Cuba, probably on the wrong side of of the career at this point. Devin Haney beat him over 12 rounds, got the decision. I think Devin Haney was probably hoping to stop him, given that Tank Davis stomped him in the last round when he fought him recently. Obviously, a lot of controversy with Devin Haney having an emailed WBC lightweight title, given that Teofimo Lopez just won the legitimate WBC lightweight title. I think we can all agree. It's an awkward position for Haney to be in because I'm sure he wasn't campaigning to have the belt sent to him, but nevertheless, that's what happened. What are your thoughts on that one, Teddy?
Haney did what he had to do. He won every round, but he's not a scintillating, exciting fighter. After seeing Davis, he was probably hurt because after Davis had done what he did against Cruz, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that they're different guys, obviously. Davis is a power puncher. So he scores a sensational knockout with a smaller man, but he gets that knockout against Cruz. And then you go and you leave the ballpark, right, Ken? You leave the ballpark, you just watch home runs go over the field. Bang, bang, bang. You watch Murderers Row hitting home runs all over, and now you go and watch Sandy Koufax paint the corners.
Yeah.
That's
a good analogy.
Really, I mean, you go and watch a great pitcher, and Haney's a great pitcher. You go and watch him hit the corners and take the bat out of the hands of the hitter and an older hitter. Let's be honest. This guy is 38 years old, Gamboa. He's a little used up. He's far removed from the world champion was, and a smaller guy who had moved up from featherweight, but still a game guy, a name they put in there, and Haney's style is his style. He's a pitcher, baby. He's not a home run hitter. He throws nice, clean, concise punches. He's accurate, but he's a boxer. He's got a high IQ, and he's a safety first guy. He's not putting nothing over the meat of the plate. He ain't doing that. If you want something over the meat of the plate so you can go, what? No, you're not getting that. He's not that guy to take those kind of risks. That's his temperament. I used to always say when calling the fights at ESPN ringside, I would say, you guys don't understand. You want him to do this. You say, oh, well, for this fight, he needs to do this. Yeah, okay. But his temperament has already been in there for 25 years, 24 years, whatever, 21 years, 20, whatever the age of the fighter is. That's his temperament. That's his makeup. That's his mentality. That's his personality. That's not changing. And the personality, the makeup, the temperament, you have to understand that of Haney is to be careful. Nothing wrong with it. It's got him a world title or whatever it is. But, it's got him undefeated and one of the players. And it works. But he's not going to be Jake LaMotta. He's not going to be Tyson. He's not going to be that guy that some people obviously want that style. They want that instant gratification. No, this is a guy that he's going to knock out the lesser guys, but at the next level, it's going to be about outboxing the guys. Now, look, could you take a little shot at him and say maybe you should have stopped Gamboa? I picked him to win easy. I thought he might stop Gamboa. I might have even said that. I don't remember. But I knew he would dominate. It's not hard to know. I mean, he was minus 2,000. That's a little tip-off. You don't need Teddy Atlas to handicap that one for you. But I thought he might stop him. Gamboa had been dropped 11 times in 10 fights, last 10 fights. But Gamboa went 12 rounds with Tank Davis the fight before, got stopped in the 12th round. Gamboa showed a sturdier chin. I'm going to throw it out there. Listen, that's what we do. We put it out there. I would not do it to hurt someone. Irresponsible. But I'm only throwing this out there. Only because it's been mentioned. PEDs. Somebody mentioned, they said, do you think Gamboa is on that he's stronger? He was able to take. I know people are going to say, whoa, wow, Teddy just said PEDs. Yeah. PEDs. It's in boxing, guys. I got news for you. Little secret. It's out there. It's prevalent. It's out. Now, I'm not saying I have any information Gamboa was on it. I just know it was mentioned.
A few people had tweeted out I don't know if it's legitimate or not, but I saw the tweet from a few different people of a protocol that was allegedly tied to Gamboa, talking about exactly what prescription he was on with HGH, testosterone, and a few other drugs. To be honest with you, from what little bit I know, it didn't really make sense for a boxer in terms of protocols, but, hard to verify if it's legit.
All I'm saying is we're looking for an explanation why a guy that didn't have a good chin suddenly looked like he had a face. I'm not saying Haney's, is Ernie Shavers. I'm not saying that. I already said he's not, but he hit him a lot of clean shots, and Gamboa was getting dropped by lesser punches before. So could it make him stronger physically, mentally, that he believes he could take a punch better? Possible. But again, I just that it was out there. Once it was out there, I said, I got to do the right thing on my show. I got to tell our guys everything that's out there. I'm not trying to hurt nobody. And I wouldn't have said it if it wasn't out there. I thought it, the possibility, but I would never say it if it wasn't said already. Listen, maybe it's more the reason because he didn't hit him 2 punches. He hit him 1. He hit him a lot of clean shots, Haney, all night long. Clean right hands, clean left hooks, but never 2. Always, and that's his temperament, be careful, but never 2. It was always 1 shot at a time. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why Gamboa was able to stay on his feet. Customato, my mentor, would have went nuts if my fighter did that, because he would have said, Teddy, if you can hit a guy with 2, why hit him with 1? Yeah, you're right, cuz. yeah, it makes sense. So that's part of it. What I'm breaking the fight down for you. I'm giving you a quick analysis. I thought maybe, again, he won every round. He looked good. He looked like a sharpshooter, Haney. He looked like a good boxer. Yeah, but maybe he looked like the Klitschko's when they dominated for all those years too a little bit, where he's not exciting, where he's just efficient, controls range, controls distance, but not efficient. He doesn't even let the mailman get near you. You gotta get the mail. You gotta communicate out there, with people a little bit. You gotta get the mail. He was control range. That's his forte. That's his expertise. He's controlling range. He's sharp. He doesn't waste anything. The punches are accurate, quick. Maybe I was looking where maybe he could have stepped out a little more, where he could have created more traps, where he could have got the older Gamboa to reach. Gamboa is prone to reaching because he used to be faster, and he was like Pacquiao, where he'll reach and break rules to get in and get away with it because he knows he's fast enough, and he's not that fast anymore, or as fast, or nearly as fast with his feet. So, but he still has some of those thoughts in his head that he could do it, some of those habits in his head that he could do it. So there were spots there where Gamboa would jump in, reach a little bit. And I thought Haney could have exploited that, exposed that more, ran with that a little bit more, where he could have jabbed, stepped back, got Gamboa to bite, to reach, and then get a real good counter opportunity, cleaner counter opportunities on him. And set up his offense that way, and maybe drop him that way by catching him coming in with clean shots. Shots, not 1 shot. I thought he could have done a little more of that. He was setting up his offense off his jab. He's got a terrific jab. Really does. Long, really long. Straight, accurate, Haney. The final thing I'll say about the report card on him is he could have kept the music going. He let the music stop. What I mean by that was there were times when he was in position offensively in close proximity, I guess, to Gamboa, where he would catch him some shots, and instead of stepping back, he'd allow Gamboa to tie him up. And you knew Gamboa was going to tie him up because, at this point in his career, he's going to try to slow the pace down. He's going to not compete with the younger guy as far as punch numbers go. He's going to try to make sure that he can get off, and then, he can hide from stuff on the inside where Haney would have the advantage, or even on the outside, if he could get in there and tie him up. In other words, stop the music. And it takes two to tango. A guy can't tie you up if you don't let him. If you take a step back, if you shove off with your shoulder, if you rotate your shoulders back so he can't grab your hands. But there's ways to keep the music going. And the thing that I noticed was both of them had inactivity. Both of them had gone through surgery. So you got to put that out there too. So there could be a little bit of lack of, feel, full confidence coming off the surgery, the inactivity. They both were dealing with that. Gamboa with an Achilles injury, and Haney with his, what was his shoulder? What was his injury? I'm trying to remember. Yeah. So, look, maybe that was part of the hesitation in spots that I'm describing. But I thought Haney could have taken a little step back and finished the show. We always talk about finishing, whether it's in basketball, football, baseball, life, as a guy in a boardroom, or as somebody, in whatever facet of life, whatever vocation, you got to finish. You got to finish. You get the ball on the inside in basketball, you got to finish. You got to put it in the hoop. And I thought Haney could have done a much better job finishing by taking a little step back when Gamboa, and you knew he was going to look to tie up. He's not competing with the younger guy anymore in those kind of quarters. And he didn't. He didn't take that step back. And I thought sometimes purposely he allowed, a lot of people are going to say, what? I thought purposely he allowed, and he won't like to hear it, but if he listens, it'll be helpful. We all can get better. He allowed Gamboa to tie him up in some spots. He allowed him to fall in where he knew once he fell in that there would be an excuse not to work because, he was smothering him. Then he could be tied up, where he was making silent agreements that I talk about sometimes. We make them in life sometimes, guys, where you make a silent agreement not to do something you could do to kind of just get a pass, get a free ride, not to deal with something. I thought he allowed that to happen, where he allowed in spots Gamboa to fall in, grab him, so he didn't have to take the risk of punching, even though it would have had the edge. And I think he might have stopped Gamboa, but mentally there was a little doubt. So he allowed him to tie him up. I thought I think that's a fair critique. I think it's a deeper critique than obviously sometimes you're going to get, but I think it's right. Again, some people will love him because they love pitches that hit the corners, that take the bat away from the hitter. Some people will say, hey, I didn't see enough, in sizzle. I didn't see the ball going over the fence. There's always going to be those arguments, but the guy might outbox everybody. I mean, I know a lot of people say, oh, no, I like Tank Davis and I like, Teofimo and I like this one. But Haney's a guy that he's got the skill sets and the temperament. If he could get that rhythm going, he's a tough guy to get to. But you could look at the other guys and say they got more power, they're more aggressive, stuff like that. Either way, there's a lot of interesting fights to be made out there. And again, Haney, how often can you say this? I know I'm going to sound like I'm kind of being. It's going to sound like I'm saying two things, and I guess I am. You could say that you give him a top record card for doing what he does, and then you could also take a shot at him and say, well, you should have stopped the guy 38 years old who'd been dropped 11 times, and got stopped by Tank Davis, even though it was in the 12th round. Tank Davis didn't look good that night. I don't know why, but he didn't look good. Maybe it was Gamboa. Maybe he was overconfident that night. Maybe he took Gamboa for granted. Maybe he had trouble making weight. I don't know what it was. I try to put all the possibilities. I know those are possibilities. Or maybe it was just he had trouble with Gamboa, period. But you could actually say, yeah, I wasn't happy he didn't stop this guy. He's a minus 2,000 favorite. He should have stopped him. Or you could say, wow, that guy is a great boxer.
Yeah. Well, it's also a lot to be said for an old former champion showing up on one night.
A lot of heart.
Like Nonito Donaire did against the Monster. No one expected that from Donaire.
A lot of heart by Gamboa. You're 100%
very
right.
Much so. Let's go to this week. Nevada State Athletic Commission steals the show at Joshua Franco versus Andrew Moloney 2 rematch for the WBA super flyweight title. This was crazy. I mean, from everything that I could see, it looked like Moloney hit him with a series of jabs, hit Franco with a series of jabs, closed his eye up in, I think, the second round. In between the second and third, they stopped the fight. Then the madness ensued. 26-minute delay while they looked at the rematch. You could have watched those 2 rounds probably 4 or 5 times in a row in slow motion in less time than it took for them to call this and in my opinion, incorrectly call it a headbutt. At one point, you had Bob Arum over there in Robert Byrd's ear as he's reviewing the replay, and all I could think was, imagine the NFL at a Super Bowl reviewing a call to decide a game, and you've got Jerry Jones screaming at the replay official while he's reviewing the replay. Why is the promoter allowed to get in the Athletic Commission's kitchen during such a crucial decision? And the other storyline there is that Oscar De La Hoya doesn't show up to represent Franco at the fight, nor does he send anyone from Golden Boy, which seems to be protocol for them to just not show up unless it's Virgil Ortiz or Ryan Garcia. Used to be Canelo, but Canelo got sick of that treatment and went his separate ways. Nevertheless, lots to discuss there. Nothing but controversy. What are your thoughts, Teddy?
Well, as far as Oscar, Oscar's not having a good week or month or year. Yeah, Oscar's got some problems. He's having trouble running his business, I don't know. You hate to be mean about it, but pointing things out that are there.
You're the promoter. Your guy is the world champion. Crawford had 100 of his family members at the fight. You could have been there. Someone from Golden Boy could have been there. Bob Arum was there for his guy all over the place. It just seems irresponsible not to send someone from the promotion to represent your fighter when he's defending a world title, a legitimate world title.
It doesn't seem that way. It is that way. You're 100% right. Look, he's talking about making a comeback. He's got issues.
Big time.
Right? We try to put things, we don't walk on the fence over here. Like everybody, half the people out there, these announcers, they're all shills. I hate to say it, not all of them, but a lot of them are shills. They're just, they see one thing and they say another thing because it's going to keep their job. It's going to keep their relationship, whatever. Oscar, I don't know. Sometimes, it's called, there's a help for that. It's called medication. I don't know. I maybe what maybe should it's worked for others, but he's definitely not giving you he's not putting out a business 101 platform on how to be successful in business.
It's more like a self-sabotage lesson. Let me show you how to build a beautiful platform and then destroy it by sheer incompetence.
Listen, as far as incompetence, okay, there it is. You led me right into it. That's boxing. That's why we're losing fans. That's why the late great Bert Sugar, my friend, great icon in the sport with the cigar and the hat, historian. He used to say, boxing gave itself another black eye tonight. And that's what it did. The only problem is it has no more eyes to blacken. I thought of Bert right away. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's ineptitude. I mean, like when you see these bad decisions, you see stuff like that. They'd spend a half an hour, break up, First of all, the football game went late. I mean, who's running things over there? I think it would have been a good decision by whoever's in charge there of putting the fights on to say, you know what? We're not even going to go with the Moloney-Franco fight. It's late. We're going to go with the main event. Give the people what they want. Don't keep them up all night because we've heard the complaints before. We're going to show that we listen to them. So, but they didn't. They went with the co-feature, even though it was late after the football game.
Not only that, cut away. The score was like 60 to 28. Like, no one cares. And if they do, then they're clearly they've got bigger issues.
I got news for you. College football gets better ratings, even when it's a blowout, than they. I get this from the source, from people that do this at ESPN. So that's the reason. I agree with you. I would say for that, it's a blowout. Cut away. But that's what they're going. That's what they're being driven by. That's what they're being dictated by. But if you don't cut away, start with the main event because you're already late. The other thing is you spend a half a freaking hour. I'm crying. I'm not laughing. And then...
It was only 2 rounds.
And then you get it wrong. I mean, and then Bird... Bird was involved in a fiasco. Rob can get it up there for us. But he was involved in a fiasco with doing a fight. It was Bradis versus Glowacki, right?
Yes.
And
last year.
I mean, it was terrible. It was terrible. He was the ref. I mean, let people see it for themselves. You know, and you know what I'm talking about, so I don't spend too much time on it. I mean, he was all discombobulated. I don't know. You get older. Sometimes things get away from you. Sometimes you're not that person anymore. He's been a terrific ref. You know, his wife, Adelaide Bird, she was there working the undercard. She didn't get involved in controversy, but she's been involved in so much bad decisions, controversial. The main one, the kingpin of all, was that she had the first Canelo Triple G fight, scored like 118, 110, something like that, for Canelo. I mean, come on. Triple G won the fight. They made it
clearly.
They did their business. Boxing did its corruption, and, you know, let the guy that let the golden goose not get cooked.
Yeah.
Let him live because he's the golden goose, because he lays golden eggs. So they did that thing, which is another thing that's chasing fans away from the sport and maybe chasing people to listen to us sometimes, because we're not going to ignore it. I mean, I don't know if we're ever going to change it, but we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep trying. And I tried it for 25 years at ESPN, and I'm going to keep trying. And I don't know any other way. So you go and you got Bird. They ask him. They sent the guy out there to interview him. And didn't you see the punches that were landing? The jab that seemed to swell the eye, and then of course it should have been a different outcome, because then it would have been Moloney getting his title back. You're robbing a guy again,
right in front of our eyes.
So it's the jab, but. He says, no, we saw 2 headbutts, at least 2 headbutts. Okay, I would have wished that somebody would have went into the announcer's ear, you know, the interviewer's ear, and said, show it to us. That's all. Show it to us. So Bird might have fainted right there. But just show it to us. You said you got 2, show it to us. Because we've been watching nothing but jabs swell this guy's for the last 30 minutes. And we haven't seen a headbutt. Nothing conclusive. That actually, we saw the head go forward, but we never saw it touch his eye or touch the head.
Not to swell an eye like that.
No. So, but we didn't even see it go all the way in. So, you know, everybody's different. Some people have higher bones in certain areas where they're more prone to being swollen. I'm going to put that out there. But we didn't see contact. But we did see contact with the glove, with the jab. So just show it to us. Show it to us. You just said there's 2 of them. Show it to us.
Even now, show it to us. It's 3 days later. Show us now. Or reverse it. The fight's over.
I'm going to predict what's going to happen with boxing, with its ineptness, with its corruption, with everything else. I'm not saying it was planned, but they're going to overturn it quietly in a room. They're going to come out and say, we did the right thing. No, you didn't. The right thing would have been doing it right there. You got forced. Big difference. Big difference. Doing the right thing and being forced to do. Big difference. Big difference. It's, so it's like a guy gets caught red-handed in the stock market and robbing, whatever. I'll go easy. I'll go white-collar crime, whatever. Terrible. And he pays a $20 million fine. I did the right thing. What? You didn't do the right thing. You did what you were forced to do to stay out of jail. You didn't give $20 million because you had an extra 20 in your pocket. You did it because you didn't want to go to the pen.
He paid $20 million, but he robbed $2 billion.
Yeah, well, that's part of it too. That's true, Ken.
By the way, the one thing for me that was blatantly obvious what happened, Moloney's reaction when they stopped the fight. He knew he punched him in the eye. He jumped around like he just won the fight, even though the referee is saying accidental headbutt. And then after, in the interview, when he was in tears, talking about what you always talk about, he's like, they robbed me. Now I got to go back to the back of the line. When am I going to get a shot again? And he's like, look, I'm in the ring. I punched him in his eye. As soon as I hit the eye, I saw it start to swell up. You know that you could just tell, listening to him, the guy was being sincere, and he knows what happened. He was in there. He knows he didn't headbutt him.
That's why I fight and I fought all those years at ESPN. I don't want a medal, but it didn't help too much, so I wouldn't get a medal. No, maybe one of those merit badges, those merit badges that I get for my grandson. They come in Cracker Jack's box. They're cool. You put them on there. It's a little merit badge. But I fought for them so hard because I knew what it meant. It wasn't like a baseball player get robbed of a base hit, and then he comes up the next inning and he can make up for it, and it doesn't change his life. But when you rob these fighters, and the reason people would say, oh, my God, Teddy goes after these guys. Yeah, because I know what it means. It means that they go to the back of their line and have to face thousands of punches again to get back there. And when they get back there, they may never get back there. And if they do, the night will not ever be the same. It might not line up. The stars, the karma, the energy, the preparedness that they had, it might never be there again, and most likely it won't. They got it right that night. Give them a reward for that. Let them get what they worked to get, what they sacrificed to get, what they risked to get. But then when they come back, it might never be there for them again. Everything might not be lined up perfectly the way it was that night. They might not be feeling the way they were that night. And that's why I would say, look what you're doing to these guys, you bums. So, here, again, this is what's going to happen. My prediction. They're going to turn around and say, we looked at it and we're ordering a rematch. We're ordering a rematch. Or they might even say we're giving the title and then we're ordering a rematch. We're giving the title back to Moloney. They could go two ways. We're giving the title back to Moloney. We made a mistake. We saw it. And then we're ordering that they have to fight again. Or just we're ordering a rematch. Just that's it. And this way, they save a little face. It looks like they're doing something. And what they really did was now they get sanctioning fees again. Now they created another fight, another payday, where they're just going to be able to, again, take money from it. I mean, they do that when they rob. When you see these robberies and the public demands something and there's an outcry and they're forced to do a rematch, they come, okay, we're doing a rematch. What they don't tell you is, and we're getting sanctioning fees again, and we're getting, we're double dipping. Basically, that's what they're doing at the end of the day. Instead of doing it the right way at the beginning, they're covering up. It's like removing the fingerprints from a heist. They're cleaning the fingerprints from a heist. Instead of doing it right, instead of not committing the heist, they freaking commit the heist. It's unbelievable. They commit the heist, and then they say, oh, we'll do it again. And everybody will be happy. They know how to survive. Boxing, they know how to survive. And instead of how to correct the corruption, get rid of it. Correct the incompetence. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. And I had to, again, you wonder why people are leaving the sport and going to UFC. You wonder why? Watch that. Sit there for a half an hour. Watch what's right in front of your eyes, what's clear, couldn't be clearer. They keep you there half an hour instead of watching a fight, and then they come back with the wrong decision. What do you think people are going to do? What do you think? They're going to embrace that sport? Say, wow, that's why I love boxing. That's why I love boxing. Look at that. No, it's the opposite. And go ahead, Ken.
Well, that brings us to the main event where Terence Crawford stops Kell Brook. I mean, you described it perfectly on Twitter. Kell Brook is a game guy. He's an elite fighter, but he's also been stopped twice with 2 fractured orbitals on either side of his face. And he looked great until he started getting touched, and it was as soon as Crawford landed clean, it was over. We'll talk about the drama between Crawford and Bob Arum. That's an interesting side story. But let's first deal with the fight. Terence Crawford stops Kell Brook. He looked awesome when he had him hurt. He closed the show. Crawford's an awesome finisher, like you said earlier. And credit to Kell Brook. He's tough as hell, but once the chin goes, it's kind of like you can't be in there with these kind of power punches like Crawford and Triple G and the likes and expect to stay around very long if they're going to connect. What'd you see?
It was like that joke. You ever hear that joke where the guy jumps off the Empire State Building and he's falling down, and around the 50th floor as he's falling down, the guy looks out the window at him and he says, "How am I doing?" "Good so far." And like, how am I doing? Good so far, good. Because they know what's coming. You ain't going to be doing good another 50 floors down. You're going to be splattered. And that's what this fight was about. And I said it on ESPN Live, on ESPN Sports Center that morning. I'm not sure the promoter wanted me to say that, but I tried to say the truth. I said that morning when they said, "Teddy, tell us who's going to win and why." Crawford's going to knock him out because Brook is damaged goods. What? Yeah, he's damaged. Oh, you didn't hear that in the press releases? No, they love. He's damaged goods. He got knocked out twice. Got orbital bones broken, both eyes. And he was forced to submit in the one against Spence. When your spirit is broken for a fighter, I argue for anybody in life, it's worse than your bones getting broken. It doesn't heal. He had a broken spirit. You know what that's like? That's like taking an engine out of a car. You can roll it downhill for a while. As long as the hill's long enough, it'll move. Don't try to go uphill. Ain't no engine there. That's how I broke it down. I haven't gotten any calls from anybody over there yet saying, "Great job. You're right on the button there, Ted." I think it's coming. I think it's coming. I think those calls are going to come. But that's the only way I could see it. I know something, not just about boxing, but the human spirit. That's what this is about. It's always about that. It's always at the forefront. And I just felt that, the promoter, I felt that they ran a scam. I know that's strong words. I know. But I thought they ran their own little scam. They set up an optical illusion. They set up where it looked like a competitive fight. They needed to do that. The guy looks the part. He's strong. He looks good. It looked like they used his name. He's a former world champion. Once upon a time, he beat Porter, who's a viable fighter nowadays, right? A while ago, but yeah. So they set up a sting operation. Get that movie up there, Robbie, baby. The Sting, one of the classics. Young Paul Newman, and Robert Redford. Oh, well, you seen that, Ken?
Yeah.
Great movie. Great movie. They set up their own sting operation, Ken, where it's kind of like a mirage in the desert. You get told all this stuff, the heat gets to you a little bit, and you start seeing an oasis. Oh, you see palm trees and water. Oh, I can't get there fast enough. Oh, it's on free ESPN too. Okay, let me get there. And you get there, and what do you get? Sand in your freaking mouth. You get sand in your mouth. And listen, I gotta say it because it's true. They knew what they were doing. They got good numbers, I'm sure. It'll come out tomorrow, whatever. But free ESPN. But the people at ESPN don't know. They just know whatever they're told. But the promoters know. That's their business. They know exactly. And so how could you be surprised? For me, what I said was, soon as this guy basically gets hit, soon as he, and Rob maybe put part of my interview from ESPN, maybe we'll put part of it out. We'll see if Rob is able to do that, if we're able to do it. But soon as he gets hit, that's it. So it's kind of like I said, it's a car rolling down the hill, 3 rounds, just jabs, just posturing, just a chess match, just fencing, rolling downhill, no problem. But as soon as he got hit in the 4th round, bang, with a hybrid punch. By the way, I'll be shameless for a moment. On Dynamic Punches, I do videos.
DynamicStriking.com.
I'm sorry, Dynamic Striking. Thank you, Ken. You have a piece of the company? DynamicStriking.com. You should have one if you don't. I do instructional videos, and the last one I did that's coming up is 14 different ways to throw a jab. Yeah, 14 different ways to throw a jab. And one of them, I called it the hybrid, where it's from the same position as a jab, but you throw from the shoulder and boom, you turn it a little bit and you get more power. It's like a hook jab, a hybrid. And that's exactly the punch that he threw. And listen, part of what makes Crawford so damn good is that he's got the best instincts I've ever seen in the game. Yeah, I said it. The best instincts. He knows how to make it as he goes. He makes it up as he goes sometimes. He's got extraordinary IQ in the ring, extraordinary reflexes, but really instincts, and great at timing things. But the reason he's great at timing things is because of his instincts. He knows what he's timing. He knows what he's looking at. He knows what's there. His instincts tell him. Brook threw his jab from too close. Dangerous. Got to throw it full extension. He threw it from too close and bang, that hybrid hook jab. He timed him beautiful. Now listen, the Brook before his spirit was evacuated from his soul, from his body, 3 years ago would have handled that punch. But not the spiritless Kell. No. No, he's an empty vessel floating out on the ocean. It's a ghost ship. Yeah, it's a ghost ship, Ken. He was a ghost ship. And that, as soon as he got hit, it was over. And the thing that, I just watched it. I said, boy, that's exactly what I said. But what else could it be? If you know this business and you know how the human condition works, what else could it be? And I got to tell you, those announcers, they know the sport. I get it. And it's not just them. It's a lot of different guys. But I'm just reminded why I'm not working. Because I'm not covering up mirrors. I ain't doing the Dracula. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I ain't doing the Dracula, baby. Where I'm putting a towel over a mirror so I don't have to see what's looking at me. I'm sorry. I guess these guys don't use mirrors. Because if that's not, they know what to, they know, that's the problem. They do know. There's no excuse. They know. They know. But yet when the fight starts, one of them says, the lead guy, right? He says, oh, this is gonna be. I thought I was watching like Sugar Ray Robinson and freaking Carmen Basilio. Or Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns. Or Roberto Duran was gonna get in the ring. Really? I was like, maybe I got the wrong channel. Let me check here. No, this is Brook and and Crawford. But this is a prime. I forget the exact words. Maybe you remember. But he said, this is a prime, dangerous, basically. I'm not quoting him verbatim. This is a prime, dangerous. Well, he looked good, but that's like looking at a car in a car lot that's shiny. By the way, the guy shined it before you came in. It's shiny. It looks glossy. Oh, my God, it's beautiful. Don't open the hood. Don't open the hood. Don't open the hood. There's no engine. So here he is. He's saying, oh, this guy, this is a dangerous, this is a prime, serious. No, it was what I said. It's a ghost ship. But that's where the shilling part. They know. Well, he might not know. He's not an expert. But the analyst guys, they know. They're good. They are. They know. But then one of the analysts comes right behind that and says, anybody out, I wonder if it was a shot at me. I don't know. Anybody out there, I didn't even know this. My family told me about it. They love me, they love me. They want me to be aware of everything, Sometimes I wish they didn't love me that much, because, but they do. They love me and I love them, and I'm very, very, I'm so blessed. And here, so one of the analysts starts by saying, anyone who thinks this is not going to be who thinks this is going to be an easy fight, doesn't know anything about boxing. Does that mean you? Because, no, I'm just saying, because it turned out to be an easy fight. So does that mean you don't? I know you do. Don't get me wrong. I know that you do. But then what's the explanation for it? Ken, stick with me here. What's the explanation? It's called shilling.
You want to keep working?
Keep working. The seal clapping for fish. I don't know. Keep working. Keep working. Because, look, the promoter is the one who allows you to keep those seats. I know it shouldn't work that way, but it does work that way. The network is going to abide by what the promoter wants as far as it goes. Same thing with PPC, all those guys. It's all the same. The promoter is going to dictate to the network to a certain extent. To a certain extent, they have a lot of say over who is going to be behind the microphone. And, if it's not a guy that's going to promote their product, and I get that part, I do. But there's a difference between promoting your product and being honest. There's a little difference. You can promote the product, but when there are times when you know something is going to be along the lines of what I just said, well, don't you have an obligation to be honest? Don't you have an obligation to tell the public what you know? And in the end, maybe they look at it like, oh, no, you don't want to tell them not to watch. Well, or give them a reason not to. I get it. But if you're doing your job and you're just letting them know, they're watching anyway. They're there watching anyway, Ken. It's not like they're going to say, oh, I'm out of here. No, they're watching. But aren't they going to appreciate it a little bit? At the end of the day, isn't there going to be a payoff a little bit for the network that the fans will say, the guy told me the truth. So the next time he tells me something, which will wind up being positive about a great fight, I'm going to believe him. But the next time he says it's going to be a great fight, they're going to remember this too. And they're going to say, not so fast. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm human.
Listen, now we've covered what happened in the fight. Let's get to the drama with Arum and Crawford. And part of that ties into what you're talking about with Kell Brook. And they did everything they could to promote Kell Brook as a real challenge for Crawford. And listen, everyone in boxing knows the only fight that anyone wants to see with Terence Crawford is against Errol Spence, period. And Bob says Errol Spence
No, there's one other. There's one other out there.
Pacquiao.
Because he's an icon.
Fair. That being said, they seem to be on two completely different pages. Crawford has hinted that he's going to finish out the contract, which I think has a little less than a year left. And right before the fight, I think Lance Pugmire did an interview with Arum, and Arum said something to the effect of, who says we even want Crawford? He's cost me so much. I've lost more money on these last 3 promotions. I could build a house in Beverly Hills with the money I've spent promoting his fights. And then he went on to say, if Crawford promoted his fights the way Teofimo Lopez did and Manny Pacquiao did, maybe we would make some money on these fights. And all I could think was, fighter, promoter. Fighter, Bob's the promoter. Fighter is the fighter. I get that you want to promote yourself, but I mean, what else should Terence Crawford do? Take out billboards advertising his wares? I mean, the promoter. By contrast, if you watch the Katie Taylor fight this weekend on DAZN, after the fight, Eddie Hearn did an interview with her, and I thought it was the best example ever of a promoter promoting his fights. He just spoke eloquently of all the challenges out there. He talked of all the big fights he wanted to make. He just promoted the hell out of her. She just stood there and listened. But it was just such a contrast to the interview that Arum then did the next night with Crawford, and then again, they seemed to be on two different pages. It was very uncomfortable. Bob, after giving the interview to Pugmire the night before, is there talking about, yeah, we want to do Pacquiao, we want to do this, we want to do that, and Terence was just kind of standing there like, whatever, like they clearly are on two different pages, and that's heading for probably a messy divorce. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, it is funny to watch to promote anybody. It doesn't have to be Arum squirm a little. Yeah, he was squirming, but I got to say, Arum is he's very good at squirming. It's very he's been practiced at it pretty good, so he does it pretty well. Whereas somebody else, it might not look quite as good, but he knows how to do it. Listen. It was funny to watch him in the ring afterwards saying, "This is the greatest fighter since Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard. He could beat anyone." This guy, I was waiting for him. I wanted to say, Bob, you left out Hercules. You left out Samson. You left out, I mean, he beat Hercules and Samson on the same night. You know, I mean, God almighty, this guy. But that's how some of them are.
But he's saying all that after he said, maybe we don't even want him.
But yeah. And that's why you can't believe a word the guy says. But I think Crawford knows that, to be quite frank. I mean, and most people that have been around the block a couple times. But look, I didn't come here to defend Arum, obviously. But I am here to say the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but what I believe to be the whole truth. Whether it's again with someone who I don't have a lot of respect for at the way they live their life, or whether it's someone I tremendously respect. If they're on the wrong side of it, I'm going to say it. If the other guy's on the right side, I'm going to say it. So having said that, I'm going to say let's not throw a pity party for Crawford. First of all, number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world for me. I always had him and Lomachenko, and I said you could flip-flop either way. But number one pound-for-pound for all the reasons I just said. Greatest instinctive fighter with instincts I've ever seen in my life. And great talent to go along with it and everything else. But this is a guy that has become a millionaire fighting low-risk fights. I mean, ESPN money has made him rich. And the money before Arum hooked up with ESPN, too. They've made this guy rich and considered pound for pound the best in the world. And his resume is not the best in the world. I'm not knocking him. Again, I'm here to say one thing. 1 minute I might be saying the greatest thing about Crawford. The next minute I'm pointing out some shadows. That's what we do. If you're going to consider yourself fair-minded. And if you're going to get the respect of the public. So, yeah. He's a 3-division champion. But there's not one name there that you could point at to say that that's a signature legacy fighter or fight. There's not one. So somebody's trying to get my door over here. I'm sorry, I got distracted from my grandson. I want to let him in so bad, and the poor thing, he's crying now. He just came home from school. But the thing is, and he is pound for pound, 3 years old, probably about 55 pounds. He is pound for pound the king. And my grandson out in Vegas and my granddaughter. The point here is that he's become a rich man without fighting a rich resume of guys. You know, and so there's not a pity party to be made here for him. And he made a choice, he being Crawford, he made a personal choice to re-sign 2 years ago, I think it was 2018, with Top Rank, knowing that Top Rank couldn't produce the legacy fights. They're all over at PBC. Al Heyman has them. Everyone knows that. Spence and Porter and Garcia, Pacquiao, and really the ones are what you said. It's only Spence and Pacquiao. That's the ones that's going to be the legacy fight, the bigger money fight. But this guy just got $4 to $5 million. I think it was $4 million, Crawford, the other night, to fight a guy who was a ghost ship. Really? Not bad. Not bad. And you don't even have to dive down, 10,000 leagues under the sea to find the treasure. You don't even have to do that.
Just to jump in, yeah, reportedly Crawford got $4 million, Brook got $2 million for that fight. Pretty good payday for that fight.
Yeah, I would say so. You might turn it down because you're in those special, those high numbers. So you might say no to it. I mean, how many Ferraris you're going to drive?
For $2 million, for $2 million, I will definitely get in the ring with Crawford for $2 million.
I mean, well, get in the ring. I just, yeah. Listen, look, again, that Arum has done a pretty damn good job. He's got the guy number one in the world. He's helped be part of that. He's made him a rich man. And he's fought low-risk fights for the most part. I mean, the biggest name was probably who? Khan? And Khan was a guy that always blew fights, big fights, always blew fights, and had made so much money he didn't care anymore. Khan was a good Khan. And Khan was really, he used to be okay, but he was, come on. Let's be honest here.
Then he fought Mean Machine, and I would argue till my death that Ray Robinson in Philadelphia beat him.
Yeah, listen. Again,
beat Mean Machine.
I'm not here to do work to help Bob Arum. He's beyond that point anyway. To help. I'm here to tell the truth, and so you can't just throw darts at Arum and knives and daggers at Arum for that. He's done, but I'm sure Arum's been telling him whatever he wanted to hear. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get you this fight. He's probably telling him now. Arum's going to do one of two things. He's going to let him go, which it's headed towards, or he's going to come up with more money, from ESPN money, his money with ESPN, his deal. His deal originally was somewhere around $92 million a year he gets, and it comes out with 52 fights. It comes out to somewhere around $1.8 million a show, something like that. Don't quote me, but I know it's been said that it's in that stratosphere somewhere. And then maybe it was adjusted with the COVID a little bit. Everybody had to adjust numbers with the COVID, but whatever. It's up to Arum what he wants to do with that money, who he gives it to. It's going to be hard to go to ESPN and say, give me more money, at this point in this environment and everything else after everything they've given him. It's up to him if he wants to partake with some of his money, or he's going to tell Crawford, hey, I'll get you the Pacquiao fight. We don't know how much is left with PBC. Pacquiao might have one more fight left. See, I'm giving you guys everything that you normally wouldn't get, the best that I can. Pacquiao might have one more fight left with PBC. There's some other people that supposedly signed Pacquiao. You never know with Pacquiao. He's the greatest. He's the greatest. He is. He's a special human being, and he helps so many people in the Philippines. He's incredible, and that's why people love him there. He gives them hope. And he gives them more than hope. He gives them money. I mean, this is a special guy. But he's also a guy that if Ken walked in his house, he might sign with Ken in about 3 hours.
Or at least hire me to be a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, something. I mean, so you don't know what's really going on in the life of Pacquiao. If he's with Heyman for one, or he signed with someone else, doesn't mean they're not going to work it out. They're not going to be able to make a fight. So Arum might just turn around and say, hey, I could get you that fight and hold him on, or just let him go. And Arum, again, I'm not here to defend him, but he's got a point. I did a special show for ESPN a couple years ago with Crawford, and it was good. You guys could Google. It was on ESPN. It was on a couple platforms. It was breaking down his fights, his formative fights, his early years, the fights that brought him to where he got, and breaking it down fight by fight of what he was doing and things that you might not know unless you really put a highlight on it. And that's when I realized how great he was instinctively. He was doing things when we did that piece, it was an hour, that I had to run the film back and say, do you know you did that? No, I didn't. Wow. Just unbelievable. So, but he doesn't make for great conversation. But here's the funny thing is, he's a smart guy, and he can make good conversation. He can if he chooses to. He can. Anyone who says, oh, no, he's just a good fighter. He doesn't have the mentality, or he doesn't have the personality, or he doesn't have the smart. No, you couldn't be more wrong. Couldn't be more. He knows how to talk. He does. But he's not inclined to give, Mike Tyson type interviews. Or to give Conor McGregor type interview. He's not, or even Floyd Mayweather, a great promoter. He's not inclined to do that. So Arum's right. You can help yourself. You can a little bit in that area, but really it comes down to his talent. He's got that, and it comes down to the fights that are out there. there's only 2 pay-per-view fights that can get him the kind of money he wants and the legacy that seems to be, I think, important to him of how he'll be remembered. If he wants to be remembered in that kind of class with those great fighters. Those great fighters all had a dance partner. Ali had Frazier, Foreman, obviously Duran had Sugar Ray Leonard and all the other great. Sugar Ray Leonard had Hearns and Duran and Marvin Hagler, had Hearns. He had Leonard. I mean, really to go to that iconic Remembrance Hall of Fame, that special legacy to be left behind, you need those signature fights. And right now, if that's what he wants, he's got to go across the street most likely to PPC, to Heyman. So it's either going to go that way or, again, I didn't come here to defend Aaron, but the truth is the truth. Look at this signature. I don't think it's a
forgery.
A forgery. I don't think it's a forgery, Ken. It's Crawford's signature on that contract. When he renewed that contract 2 years ago, he got paid a bonus money, obviously, and whatever. And he decided, I'll stay. He knew those fights won't. Maybe Aaron was lying to him a little, okay. But still, the check was there. He took a check. He signed. He made an agreement to stay with Top Rank. So he made that decision. Now, before this thing ends, I don't know how much time's left. Sometime next year, supposedly, his contract will be up. Now, will Top Rank try to get extra months on there because of the COVID, saying, he had to miss time, so you should give us back? Yeah, they'll probably try to do that. But it'll be sometime next year, I guess, that his contract will be up. All right? For everyone out there, so you get up to speed on some idea, some way of getting your head around this. Maybe Aaron offers him another 7-figure bonus to stay.
He allegedly said he'd pay him $1 million by the end of the year if he doesn't get the Spence fight made for him. Allegedly.
Maybe that'll become $2 million. I don't know. But maybe he'll offer, say, we could still make the Pacquiao fight, whatever. Well, I'll find your fights, but give him another bonus, and maybe he stays in a barn. Maybe he stays in that stable because of that. Or maybe this legacy is that important to him. And as great as the $4 million that he's been picking up these checks, $3 million, $4 million, all these checks, and he's become wealthy, he'd like to get one like Garcia got when he fought Spence over at PBC. Garcia got around $14 million when it was all said and done. That's more than $4 million. That's $10 million more. So maybe he wants one of those. Now, I don't know if those checks exist anymore, because the way the DAZN and PBC was throwing around money was like they were dropping it out windows. Get another movie up there, The Punisher. Get that movie up there, The Punisher, with John Travolta. When he went into the place up in the building and he took all the dirty money from that Travolta and his crew were making, and he dumped it all out the window, and it was raining money. It was raining money. Well, it was raining money out of freaking windows with PBC and the DAZN a few years ago, for the last few years. But that stopped. They caught that guy just like they did in the movie. They caught that guy that was dumping the money out there, and they closed the window. Get out of here. Get away from that window. So, but for a Spence fight, for a Pacquiao fight, they will find that money. They will, one way or the other. They'll bank on it with the pay-per-view numbers. And for those, none of the others, not Porter, not Garcia, none of those other guys. But for that, if Spence, we're taking for granted, shouldn't take for granted that Spence is going to get past Garcia. That hasn't happened yet.
Good point.
He's got to get past him. And he had that accident, so we don't know. We don't know what Spence is right now. But at the end of the day, if he wants to go for legacy and a huge check instead of $4 million, that's pretty huge anyway, but a $14 million check like Garcia get against Spence, and the kind of money that was there and was handed out in some of those fights. I mean, look at the money that Danny Jacobs, you could make the argument that Danny Jacobs, what was it, against Golovkin? I'm trying to remember which fight it was, but his manager, Keith Connolly, the money was there. What did he get him? He got him $17 million, or was it less than that? But whatever it was.
I'm checking the exact amount, but it was Danny Jacobs against Triple G on DAZN. I thought it was 7, but maybe I'm wrong. Rob's looking it up.
Yeah, I mean, there's always deals where you're taking some on the back end.
Of course.
Where if the numbers do good, that 7 can become 14 or whatever.
Either way, he made life-changing money, Danny Jacobs.
Life-changing money. And listen, again, Crawford has already made, but the money has been out there. So he wants to trade in what he's doing with Top Rank for one of those checks and one of those legacy fights. He's going to make the decision to do that. But again, before you bury Aram, and it's easy to bury Aram with some of his past, but before you do that, again, he under free will signed the extension 2 years ago, and he's never going to have to worry about paying his electric bill.
Sounds like he might have been promised that these big fights were going to be made. That sounds like what most likely happened based on
that's Aram's MO.
On the rhetoric.
That's his MO.
And Danny Jacobs actually got the big money, I think, for the fight against Canelo, and then he got the double bubble with the Triple G fight as well. So he's made a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean he got a couple big checks, and I'm sure Spence says, "Hey, I'm undefeated." Danny wasn't undefeated. I'm pound for pound number one. Danny's not pound for pound. And listen, those things are not the things that dictate that all the time. But I'm sure that somebody's in his ear telling him things like that. And again, you can't. Any fighter deserves whatever he can make. I always say that. I don't begrudge them one dime, Ken, because they take the risk. They get in the ring, like I said, for years at ESPN. You never know if you're going to get out of that ring with what you went in there with. Never. Never. Matter of fact, you can be pretty sure you're going to come out with less most of the time.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with all that drama. I'm sure we'll see it play out in the media here soon. Next up, some other boxing news that we wanted to cover. WBC creates the Bridger category between cruiser and heavyweight, 224-pound limit. And interestingly, they named Bridger after the young boy who was mauled by a pit bull this summer while protecting his younger sister, had his face all torn up. It sounds like this category was created probably for Usyk. But nevertheless, I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on the WBC here.
Yeah, well, I want to thank them for bringing another division to the game. I just want to thank them for that. We have 400. We need 401, right? We need more divisions. We need more titles. We need more belts. It couldn't have something to do with them wanting another division and another title so they could get another extortion. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say extortion. How the hell did that word come out? Extortion fee. Gee, no. I meant to say sanctioning fee. I'm sorry. I'm sure that it had nothing to do with wanting to get another sanctioning fee. No, they got enough money. I'm sure that's not it. Listen, I don't know what bothers me more. I'm joking around, but what bothers me more is that they're daring to bring another division, another freaking title to a sport that, I mean, it's like, does a cow need another set of udders? No, I don't think so. Really, this sport doesn't need, it's already lacking in credibility. So you're going to bring another to make it lack more in credibility? To diminish the sport? To delete the sport? To dilute the sport more than it's diluted already? I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? But I don't know what bothers me more, Ken, that they're doing that or they're using the memory and the vision of a kid, a beautiful kid, a brave, true champion, little kid who saves his sister. I think it was his sister, or maybe it was a couple of his siblings. Saved his sister from being attacked by a dog, and he got mauled protecting his sister.
Very badly.
And I mean, what a beautiful kid.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful story. And what a champion of a young human being. But I don't know what bothers me more, to suggest that you're going to bring another division already into an overcrowded sport of divisions that mean nothing, or that you use what I just described, that image and that name of that kid, to deflect the kind of criticism that you know you're going to get from people like me and the public. Because the public is already destroying them. Oh, yeah, public's not dumb. Hey, guys out there, I try to remind you, the public is not dumb, all right? And already they were jumping all over and saying, are you kidding? Are you kidding? And for those people out there that might side with, well, like Max Kellerman, my buddy, but that might side with, well, the athlete is so much bigger now, Teddy, that you need a super heavyweight. No, stop. Stop it. Because then you eliminate the greatness of people like Evander Holyfield coming to our lives. Where he comes in as a little guy, a cruiserweight, he goes up to heavyweight, and he beats the giants that are just as big as the big guys today. I know they're bigger, Fury and Joshua and those guys. I know how big they are. But Lennox Lewis was big. Huge, big guy. So was Riddick Bowe. And Holyfield was supposed to be too small, and he beat them all. He beat them. He was the Giant Slayer, Jack the Giant Slayer, Evander the Giant Slayer. And are we going to eliminate that? Go back in the history even farther. Go back to the 30s in this great sport, in the golden era. Go back then. And you had Primo Canelo. You had big guys then too. It wasn't everyone was small. The guys were smaller, the heavyweights, like Marciano, 185 pounds, 180 pounds, Floyd Patterson, 180, Jersey Joe Walcott, 180, Joe Louis, 200, 205. Yeah, but then you had Primo Canelo, about 260, 6'6". He was heavyweight, he was big. And Max Baer, who was probably about 200, 205, knocks him out. So you've always had big guys. This ain't the first time we had to deal with the big athlete. I know it's more prominent now. I know, with the football players, the basketball players, everybody, all the athletes, baseball, everything. But you still have the special guys that come along and they make it in baseball when they're 5'6", or in basketball when they're 5'5", or something. Whether it's Muggsy, what was his name? Muggsy Bowles?
Muggsy Bogues, Nate Robinson.
Archie, what was his? Archie.
Nate Archibald.
Nate Archibald. Nate the Skate Archibald. You know, all these. You're going to say that they're too small? No, there was something inside them that was too big for you to say they were too small. Yeah. So what are you going to, you're going to, not to mention, you've already damaged the sport. Now you're going to damage it with the history of this sport, where when you think about boxing, you think about heavyweight. First thing you think about, heavyweight champ of the world. Once was the biggest, it was the biggest title there was in the world. Heavyweight champ of the world. And you think about, that is what was the North Star of boxing. That's what people thought of. The single baddest man on the planet. When Tyson made us think of that. The heavyweight champ of the world. Not the super heavyweight champ of the world. Not the super duper heavyweight. That'd be the next thing they come up. The super duper platinum champion. Stop it. You're going to take away more than you've taken away from the sport. Keep that history. It's important. It's the lifeblood of the sport. It shouldn't be taken away. And what shouldn't be taken away is the opportunity to see a special guy who's supposed to be too small come in with the Giants, and it turns out he's too fast. He's too smart. He's too good. He's too determined. And he wins. We need that more today than ever. We need that hope. We need that example. We need that image out there for people who say, nobody tells you you're too small. Look at this guy, he's heavyweight champ of the world. We've never needed it more. It's so crucial. We don't want to eliminate the examples that are still out there for somebody to come and show you that, hey, it don't matter how big the guy is in a fight. It's how big the fight is in a guy. That's what still matters. That's what matters to your kids. The kids in school that are being picked on and bullied. They have to understand that. They have to have something to look up to believe that. To have an example of that. You can't take that away. We've had too much taken away from us in society in a way that we skip past and we forget about things that should never be forgotten about, and how we minimize things that should never be minimized, and how we change things for the sake of changing, to have another gadget, another bell and whistle. What the heck? What, are you just going to keep throwing tits on a Christmas tree until it looks like a snow cone? No, it's a Christmas tree. There's tradition. Heavyweight boxing, there's tradition. Don't take that away from us. Don't. You've taken too much already. I want to see the next guy come up the pike, down the pike, and walk in the ring and show everybody, hey, I'm the next Evander. I'm the next Muggsy Bogues. I'm the next little guy that everyone said was too small, except me, except my mother and father when I was little. And look, here I am. Let's not lose that. That's too important to all of us, boxing fans and not boxing fans. No, come on, stop it. I love this kid Bridger, but let's not use that kid and that story. Thank God he's alive, and that great heroic story to be able to get this to be passed where people will, allow it because you're using that to deflect the criticism that's there and to hide from the real reason why you're doing it. Are you giving the Bridger family the sanctioning fees that are going to come in for that new division? I could answer that. I think you could answer that, Ken. Doesn't make you. So. I don't think so. I don't think we have to be the Mason Kreskin, to be able to use our brain waves to figure that one out. I think we know the answer.
Well, next up, I want to talk to you about Canelo. Canelo's out of the zone and Golden Boy deal. I'm kind of surprised how quickly and quietly that happened. Just like, yeah, okay, you had a
it was in the making, though, Ken.
Right, but I mean, it just seemed to like it was in the making seemingly for only a few weeks, and then the next thing you know, it's announced. Nevertheless, I bumped into a DAZN friend the other day, and he said that most likely Callum Smith fight is going to happen. Eddie Hearn's working on it now. So it sounds like we're going to see Canelo and Callum Smith next. I would bet that that's what happens next. Canelo's got his own deal. He's going to be his own promoter. Sounds like it worked out for everyone with the exception of Golden Boy. And, yeah, what are your thoughts on that one?
Listen, Callum Smith, if there was still a live gate, it could make a big fight over in London because, again, I've said it before, my brothers and sisters over across the pond, we love you. You're so important to the sport. You're so important to the world, not just the sport. But you're passionate. You back your fighters. And you make stars over there because you don't have all the other sports and all the other, options you have here with the Tiger Woods and the LeBron James and Tom Brady. You remember that guy, Tom Brady, right, Ken?
A little bit.
Yeah. Once he left Ken's team, gone, done. Posters torn down. His poor son, had a poster of Tom Brady. He came in, was gone. Where was it? I don't know. The window was open, and maybe a crow came in out and pulled it off and took it away. I don't know. The poor kid saying, "I wanted Tom Brady." Of course, I'm kidding. Ken would never do that. But over there, that fight would be big because of what I just described. Because the fans embrace these fighters. And when they're developed the right way, which they do develop them over there, they become identified with. They become real stars over there. And over there, if there was still people allowed, it would be a big gate. Outside of that, I don't see it doing, I don't know, other than the Canelo following, I don't know that it does great in this environment, pay-per-view numbers, because nobody really knows Callum Smith. Now, he's a solid guy. He's undefeated. He's a world champion at super middleweight. He's got his titles, some of those titles that are out there. He's a big guy. He's got good size, good height, good reach. He can punch. He's technically solid. He's like, I was talking a little bit about Haney. His temperament's a little like that, where he wants to stay on the outside. He wants to get full extension on his punches. He's got a real good sneaky left hook. I always talk about Ryan Garcia. He's got the best sneaky left hook in the business, Ryan Garcia. We'll see if he can get it done with Campbell. But this guy's got a really good left hook counter. Really good. And he's got a nice straight right hand. As I said, he likes to fight at a distance. He can fight inside too. But he likes to fight at a distance. I just don't think he has the experience he hasn't fought the level of fighters. Of course he hasn't.
No one has.
No one, not too many have. Near what Canelo has. Near. So we don't know what he can really, or if he knows. See, that's important, guys out there. We don't know if he knows that's part of getting experience. People say, so we know that we can handicap the fight. We know now we can judge him by the kind of guys he's been in. No, it's more for the fighter to know I belong. He doesn't know if he can handle that next level. And again, he hasn't had that experience on the stage to that level. So that's going to work against him. That'd definitely work against him. But he's capable enough to the level we've seen him. Again, why is Canelo rated so high in the pound for pound? Because of the level of competition we've seen him with, that he's been able to be effective with, successful with. We don't know that about Callum Smith, but we do know what I just said, that he's a guy that technically pretty good. He doesn't move his head much. He relies on blocking and controlling range, controlling distance really well. It's if that's his, you got to have something coming out of the box when you're starting something new and leaving Golden Boy, and that's something.
Yeah,
it's not, but it's something.
That's right. You mentioned Ryan Garcia. His fight was postponed to December 5th. He was supposed to fight Campbell this month. Campbell tested positive for COVID. I mean, we've seen a bunch of people test positive for COVID and come back strong. Cam Newton for the Patriots. We saw Jamel Herring come back from COVID. So, I think that this should be okay, and I'm looking forward to seeing this fight. This is a huge, huge test for Ryan Garcia, in my opinion.
It's better for the promotion. It's better for Garcia, as far as the numbers, if his money is locked into numbers a little bit or whatever. But it's better for the promotion. I don't know.
Just to clarify, Teddy, it was scheduled for December 5th, but now it's been pushed to late December. Could potentially get pushed to the early New Year. Yeah,
it was scheduled for the 5th. And the reason why I say it's better, it might not be better for Campbell. I mean, hopefully he recovers and hopefully he's got enough training time to be 100%. And hopefully Ryan Garcia doesn't overtrain. Those things can happen when he was already in training, whatever. But it's better for the promotion, Ken. I'll tell you, because these idiots out there that do these things in boxing, some of these guys, I know they're not idiots. They're all wealthy guys that say, "Oh, Teddy, I got more houses than you have, so how could you call me an idiot?" Well, when you put 3 freaking fights on 3 different networks on December 5th on the same freaking night, I think something's wrong. I think that, the wheels are moving. Or you're just so arrogant and greedy that you don't give a freak. But, so it's better for the fans that now you don't have 3 freaking fights that you might want to watch, and you can't watch them because they're all on basically the same time for the most part, unless there's something with one of them being over in London where they show it earlier. But where you have them all on different networks the same night. So in that way, you remove one of the fights from the clogged calendar night of December 5th. That's good. Even though it had to have by COVID to do it, because it didn't happen by these geniuses doing it on their own. But I don't think this is a step up in class for. I've said it already on the podcast before. This is a step up in class for Ryan Garcia, but not so much a step up in talent, but in class. Campbell's a gold medalist. Campbell lost to Lomachenko. He was a world champion. He's a good boxer. He's a southpaw. He controls range, but he's not physically strong. Not that Garcia is, any kind of Heman, whatever they call that.
He-Man.
Not that he's, he's a young guy. He might not have gotten that man strength yet. But Campbell is not physically strong. I don't think it's a test in talent. I think it's a test in experience that he's going in there with a guy who's been there, experienced. So in that way, it's definitely a test from where he's been. It's not a huge test. Maybe it'll turn out to be a huge test. But for me, it's more just a test and experience that you're finally seeing him in there with somebody that, you want to see him with a more experienced, more accomplished guy.
Yeah, and we'll do a full breakdown on that one right before the fight, because that's a big fight for the year, and I don't want to take away from our pre-fight analysis of that one, because that's going to be a good one, and you can go very deep on that, and I'm dying to hear your thoughts. But let's cover one more topic before we leave. A week ago Saturday, we had a big UFC card, Teixeira and Thiago Santos, UFC, same night as DAZN and Fox shows, and my God, those DAZN and the Fox shows were, to say they were bad would be an understatement, and on the same night as UFC put on another awesome event. I know you have some thoughts on that, so what did you see on that, on the UFC event, and what are your thoughts on the competing boxing cards?
Let's start with that. Here's my thought. You've heard things like this before. You ready?
Yep.
Why bother?
Very fair.
Why bother? Why bother putting that freaking stuff on? It was a joke. Why bother? I'm going to ask Rob. Rob, my man Rob, I've got you working a little bit today. Here, get me my favorite comedian. You know who he is, the name that I can't pronounce.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Ken, you're like the Amazing Kreskin. See, I don't need the Amazing Kreskin. I used to love the Amazing. I got Ken. Got my own Amazing Kreskin.
that fight with Ortiz on Fox, Teddy, you could have easily found a guy off the street to be better. Easily.
Put a clip from Sebastian up, all right? This will speak for me. Put a clip up there, Rob, where he's saying his signature thing now. Aren't you embarrassed? Aren't you embarrassed? I mean, that's all I can say is why bother, and aren't you embarrassed to put that on, you networks, you promoters? Really? And again, that's why I'm not working at ringside, because I'm gonna, that's okay. I might hang out with Sebastian. Aren't you embarrassed? Aren't you boxing promoters embarrassed? You know? And then you'll be ringside. Well, not ringside. See, everything's ringside for me. You'll be sitting front row. You and Rob. Front row, baby. But listen, Teixeira. Wow, what a beast. And Santos. There was more action in one round in that fight than there was the whole freaking night of Fox in the Zone. Every fight, put it all together. Pile it on like a pile of, you know what I mean. And there was more action in the Teixeira Santos that night. You people, boxing fans, want to yell at me for talking about UFC? Look at that night. Exhibit A in the courtroom. Don't yell at me. Don't. If you have a valid thing, I'll take it. You don't have nothing valid. You put crap like that on, and it's been getting put on in boxing, and then you put on a fight like that on UFC, and you're going to tell me I should be watching the boxing? I should be talking about the boxing? No. Teixeira and Santos, there was more action in one round than the whole freaking night on both those freaking networks. It was amazing. Teixeira gets dropped by Santos in the first round. I'm hoping my memory, I should look at my notes so my memory doesn't betray me. But he gets dropped in the first round, and he gets up, and he gets hit, and he just keeps coming. He keeps coming against Santos, Teixeira. He was like on the Nature Channel where you watch the salmon going upstream, and they know they're going to die. They do, Ken. But it's nature telling them, you got to go upstream to that place where you were spawned. And it's almost like an ultrasound signal in the air that's drawing them. Like, we can't stop. The journey is impossible. But guess what? I'm going to make it possible. That was Teixeira. There was an ultrasound siren calling him to go through this, to keep coming, to not stop. When there was physically, he shouldn't have been able to do it. But the call was stronger than the punches were. The need to accomplish was stronger than the pain to stop him from accomplishing it. It was amazing. He just kept coming. That's what these guys do, Ken. He just kept coming. And then in the second round, he goes and he winds up, same thing. He winds up, I'm trying to remember if it went 2 or 3 rounds. It went 3, I think. The second round, same thing. And then he gets Santos into a chokehold towards the end of the round where Santos is gone, but he's not submitting. Oh my! I was like, holy this guy's out. He's going to be out. And the bell rings, and he saves him because he didn't submit. And the guy is like semi-conscious. Like Santos, like... and then comes out the third round, and he drops Teixeira again. Or wobbles him. I don't remember if he dropped him or wobble. He hurts Teixeira again. Unbelievable. And then he overcomes it again. He overcomes that, and then he gets Santos again into a chokehold, and he finally chokes him out. It was a hell of an adventure. It was a hell of a journey to take with these two men. It really was. To see something that, I guess it just reminds us of how we can accomplish extraordinary things if we are forged enough, determined enough, prepared enough to accomplish those things. I mean, it really was out of the ordinary. It was really something to see that. So again, don't yell at me, guys, when I talk about UFC, because when you see yell at the networks, call up the networks. Tell them that you're getting rid of Fox. You're getting rid of DAZN. Whichever ones. If they keep putting that silly putty. That silly putty. Really? Come on. You keep putting that crap up there. It was ridiculous. You see fights sometimes over there, and you see a guy get hit a punch and they fall down. Remember the one we watched? The guy got hit on the elbow and he fell down. It was a glass elbow.
Some of those fights are horrible. By contrast, Teixeira, I like the interview afterwards where he's basically like, hey, Dana, come on, help me out. I'm 42 years old or whatever his age is. And he's like, give me a title shot, will you? I'm like, I'm beating everyone you're putting in front of me. How long are you going to wait for me? Give me a shot.
I'm so glad you brought that up because, Dana, give him a shot. I know that, I'm not the ambassador of the UFC. I'm not the president of the UFC. You, Dana, you are, and you've done a great job. Nobody has to tell you that. You know that already. The results speak for themselves in every way. But give him a shot and get him a commercial. Get him one of those commercials like a Timex commercial where it takes a lick, but it keeps on ticking. You know what I mean? Really, that guy should have that commercial. And then after you do that, go buy him a Rolex. The
really. Challenge is he's got Adesanya, and Adesanya's got a pretty busy dance card coming up. So it will be interesting.
Special. That's a special talent, Adesanya.
For sure. It will be interesting to see what they do with Glover there. But listen, Teddy, this was a long one. We've got a huge episode coming out Thursday, guys. Again, as a reminder, 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. Check out the Teddy Atlas, Dr. Atlas Foundation dinner, virtual dinner. We'll be posting it on Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. And the podcast, the audio version, will be available on all the typical podcast outlets. Teddy, thank you for doing this. I'm looking forward to the event Thursday night. I hope everyone tunes in, gives what they can. It's greatly appreciated. Teddy does great work with the money that's donated to the charity. They've done a bunch of great things. You can check it all out on his website, the Dr. Atlas Foundation. Teddy, you got anything before we say goodbye?
No, just again, thank you, Ken, for hitting that hard at the beginning and now at the end. It's important. It's important, with this, it was always important to take care of these people that weren't doing good even without the COVID. These are people that have had it hard and that need help and have fallen through the cracks. And they needed help before. They need more help now. And with everything being the way it is, where everyone has problems, where we had to cancel all our fundraisers, the golf outing, the comedian night, all that stuff, just like other organizations had to do. One thing hasn't changed, though. The need. It's gotten even greater. So I'm going to do what I've always done, and I've always depended on, to ask you guys, you special people, to be there to work our corner, to help us in this fight and help us answer the bell, as you've done so many times, once again, to help our fellow human being. Thank you.
All right, guys, thanks for being with us. We'll be back on Thursday. Take care.